Well, I'm Sean Thomas. I'm the creative director of JKR. I've been here for 6 years and I'm responsible for the creative output of the agency.
I'm James Nixon. I'm the MD here. I've been here about 7 years and responsible for running the day-to-day of the business.
JKR's still an independent agency. It was set up 26 years ago by Joe Jones, Andy Knowles and Ian Ritchie. Andy Knowles and Ian Ritchie are still in the building, and you'll see them around the place, and they're still heavily involved with the work. And they were set up to be as a point of difference to be a design consultancy. I think at the time, I think Ian was frustrated that sometimes design work wasn't brand relevant, and designers were just doing work for their own personal merit rather than for the good of the brands. So
I think that was a really important thing, because I think the which is still relevant now and today is everything we do is often through the lens of commercial value to the brand, not for the vanity of the creative individual or industry. We'll always do the right thing to do the brand justice and be grown up about some of the challenges brands have got in the modern era and things that they sort of have to deal with on the day to day. And you really feel that in the culture of everything we look at. And the other thing I think that's that is a bit different is that one of the things we do believe in, and it was all when it was founded, is that not one brand or client is any different, less or more important than any other. And we have that across the mix. So sometimes you get clients going, so are we going to get the B team? And it's kind of like, we just don't work like that. And I think we're all about everything needs to be at the sort of top quality level to drive commercial sort of value to the brands we work with.
absolutely, that's a real key point of difference, I think, from my history in design. Like, I've worked other places where there'd be certain FMCG brands that wouldn't be given the time of day, and I feel that every single job here is seen as an opportunity, and most of our best work has been done for the kind of brands that I think a lot of other agencies would look at and would treat it as a bit of a cash cow, to be totally honest.
The independence is massive. It's basically we put work ahead of everything. So work is the thing that we make all our decisions on. I think between Sean and I, we make every decision pretty much, be it people decisions or obviously work decisions through the lens of how's the work going to get better. We often sort of look at, if the work's great, all the other problems that agencies worry about often disappear. New business, talent, challenges you have with certain clients. If the work's great, a lot of the kind of sort of success follows. I mean, the independence of the agency allows us to do that, because we can make choices on things that traditionally, when you look at it raw, you might not go for it, but we will sometimes make the decision for the better good of both the work and the people that work for us.
We've got a mantra here, charisma by design, essentially. It's a phrase we've used on and off since the founding days, but it's the principle behind it's been there since day one. It's all about, essentially, the image we often use is in a sea of pigeons, there's only one peacock that kind of really stands out and gets noticed. And it's amazing how many briefs actually start with people looking at all their competitors and thinking like, well, they've got the nice looking oranges, or they've got the best looking leaves, and that's got the nice claim on it, or that one's using purple. And a lot of people think the answer is by looking at the people around them and copying from what others are doing. But actually, our belief is always that the answer is looking at yourself and figuring out your place in the world. And once you know that, the rest of it, things become a lot easier. Like, when you know what you stand for and why you're doing what you're doing, the brand just unpacks itself and can start having so much fun. And I mean, that's what we fundamentally always come back to.
We use the Oscar Wilde quote a lot.
Yeah.
Be yourself, everyone else is taken. Simply. I think in some parts of the industry, people sort of often think we've got a style, but I think what we're finding more now is that our philosophy is driving us to be much more impactful with the role of the assets across the brand's world. And I think the philosophy is kind of, it's everyone subconsciously plays it back in creative forums internally. We do talk about it a lot. We're even getting to a position now where we're able to measure charisma traits and associate that with irrational behaviour in terms of buying patterns, and why would I be prepared to buy a £200 pair of trainers when I can buy a £10 pair of trainers. We're sort of evoking the charisma message through actual price and profit for brands. So that's a space we're moving into that's interesting, that there's going to be more to sort of follow on. But the philosophy of charisma by design is a big part of how we sort of portray the work we do and the lens we look at it all through.
I think packaging's where we started and what we're most known for, but we don't really see it as packaging anymore. We see it more as a part of the brand world, really. It feels like the challenges that packaging has historically had of getting noticed and standing out in a busy environment now just are the same principles that kind of translate to online, social, digital, in-store activation. There's hundreds of thousands of messages a day. So actually, most of our clients now ask us to start with the brand, and in fact, as an agency, we always would start there naturally anyway. We would just start with the brand, figuring out what the brand's about, what it stands for, what its point of difference is in the market, and we start from the brand and build it up. And if the packaging is the thing that needs addressing, then we'll address the packaging. But often, I think people can jump to the pack as we just need to refresh the pack because we haven't done it for 18 months, but actually. It could be missing the bigger point, which is that actually the challenge to the business is in a completely different part of the ecosystem.
I think what also is interesting is that the world's changed so much in terms of the way we consume media nowadays, and the touch point of a pack versus scrolling through the phone. I think if I look back 2 or 3 years, 80% of what we did was pack. And I think now we're probably more 60% is pack. We'll forever be experts at pack, and I think it's something we pride ourselves on. Certainly London, and we do love that. But the expansion into more of a diverse sort of brand world is a big part of what we do. We've brought in different talent to answer a lot of the key challenges that our clients are talking to us about, and we're kind of sort of expanding way beyond our traditional field of purely pack design, basically.
And it's interesting, like it keeps you fresh. Like I've been a packaging designer for 15, 16 years, and I love it, and I'll always love packaging. But some of the briefs we're getting in recently just have been slightly mental, and it's been really exciting times.
I do think as well, often a pack brief leads to more. With the brand, we're very good at creating our own briefs. I think, in a simple, we're very good at asking the client to give permission to do certain things. We're very good at kind of provoking them in a certain way that will answer a brand's key challenge, and often pack is often the way in the door for us. I kind of enjoy personally that I get lots of phone calls from the ad industry. What are you up to? What are you up to? The more phone calls I get from Adland, the better, from as far as I'm concerned. But we're making a lot of impact in the work we're doing.